Hello and welcome to another episode of the Life Strategies Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Jones, and today we're diving into a type of grief that often gets overlooked. You see, when we hear the word grief, most of us immediately think about the loss of a loved one. And while that's certainly one of the most profound types of grief, there's another kind that quietly sneaks into our lives, the grief that comes with life transitions. Whether it's moving from high school to college to the workforce, or even shifting into retirement, these transitions can stir up emotions that might feel like grief. And let's not forget about the role reversals that happen when adult children become caregivers to their parents, or spouses transition from partners to full-time caregivers. These are major life shifts, and believe it or not, they can leave us feeling just as lost or lonely as we would after losing someone dear to us. Today I want to shed light on these moments and the quiet grief they bring. It's a grief that comes not from losing a person, but from losing something familiar, whether it's a sense of identity, routine, or simply the life you've always known. And often, these transitions can lead to loneliness, something that's become quite an epidemic in today's world. So, let's talk about what that looks like, why we might be feeling that way, and most importantly, how we can support each other through it. Let's start by talking about what I mean when I say grief from life transitions. You might be wondering, can we really call it grief? Well, yes. Grief isn't just about losing a loved one, it's about loss, period. And when we experience big transitions in life, we lose the comfort of what we once knew. Take, for example, the transition from high school to college. For many young people, it's an exciting time, a chance to spread their wings, but it's also a time of leaving behind the safety net of home, familiar routines, and friendships they've built over the years. Suddenly, they're in a new environment with new challenges. This can lead to feelings of grief for the life they left behind, even if they're eager for what's next. Then, there's a transition from college to entering the workforce or becoming an entrepreneur. That's another big change where the loss of structure, like the academic calendar, friendships, and maybe even the identity tied to being a student, can feel unsettling. You're starting fresh, and while the opportunities ahead are exciting, they can also feel overwhelming. And of course, let's talk about retirement. Retirement is something we often dream of, having all that free time to do what we want. But for many, leaving the workforce can mean losing a sense of purpose, routine, and daily social interactions. This kind of loss can also bring grief, and it's something we don't talk about enough. Now, the role reversals are a whole other level of change. When we transition from being our parents' child to becoming their caregiver, it's a bittersweet shift. The person who took care of us now needs our help. And while that can bring you closer, it can also make you feel like you've lost something, the parent-child dynamic that once was. Similarly, when a spouse transitions from partner to caregiver, it's a massive change. Suddenly, your relationship has a new focus, and the life you shared before the caregiving began may seem like a distant memory. This can be incredibly hard emotionally, and it's easy to feel isolated or even trapped in this new role. So, let's dig into loneliness. These transitions often bring us to a place where we feel disconnected from ourselves, from others, and from the life we once knew. This loneliness is a growing epidemic. Studies have shown that people of all ages are feeling lonelier now than ever before, and it's particularly true for those going through major life transitions, when they might feel like no one really understands what they're going through. For example, when someone retires, they might miss the camaraderie of their coworkers, or someone starts college, they might find it hard to recreate the close friendships they had in high school. When we take on caregiving roles, we can feel isolated, like no one else is facing the same daily challenges that we are. Loneliness can happen at any stage in life, and these transitions, while normal, can make it feel even more profound. So how do we combat that? Here's the key: awareness. If we know that these transitions can bring grief and loneliness, we can start to check in with one another. This is the main message I want to get across today. Whether you're the one going through the transition or you know someone who is, take the time to reach out. You'd be surprised how much a simple check-in can mean to someone who's feeling disconnected. Maybe it's your friend who just started a new job and feels overwhelmed. Maybe it's your sibling who's suddenly the full-time caregiver for your aging parent. Or maybe it's your neighbor who just retired and doesn't know what to do with all this new free time. We all need support during life transitions, and sometimes we just need someone to remind us that we're not alone. This podcast and the Life Strategies community that I'm building is going to be a space where we support each other through these tough times. I'm also going to be offering some virtual events that are designed to bring us together as we navigate these transitions, whether it's through my upcoming 5-day challenges, courses, or workshops. There's power in community, and we don't have to go through this alone. As I start offering these virtual events and courses, I want them to serve as a place where we can gather, share our stories, and lean on each other. We'll be focusing on strategies that not only help us cope with grief and loneliness, but also help us find new ways to embrace these strategies with confidence. I'm excited to build this Life Strategies community with you because I truly believe that when we come together, we can thrive through these changes. So, as you think about the transitions in your own life, or the ones your loved ones are going through, remember to check in with each other. Life transitions can be hard, but they're a little easier when we go through them together. And if you're ready to take the next step in finding community and support, use the link in the description to sign up for my email list to make sure to check out the virtual events and courses I'll be hosting in the upcoming weeks. This is your chance to make connections with others, find helpful strategies, and learn how to move forward with confidence. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, I wish you faith, hope, and love in your life. Bye for now. I'll see you next time.